So I checked all the listed banks in the PSE. Binasa ko yung financial reports nila from last year and I found out that only 2 out of the 8 banks have increased their net income from 2019 to 2020. East West increased by 4.8% and China Bank by 19.8%. Kumusta naman si Bank of Commerce? Even better at 20.2%. Ngayon, before anybody gets excited, relax lang kayo kasi this data is cherry-picked. And alam nyo naman na misleading to create a decision based only on one metric. Kaya naman in this video, I will share what I found interesting in the Bank of Commerce prospectus, ticker symbol BCOM, maybe? Hindi ko alam. Hindi pa yun yung final symbol. Shoutout muna nga pala dito kay user na nagtanong kung paano magbasa ng prospectus. Personally, I don't know if there's a tutorial or guidelines on how to read a prospectus properly. Pero dito, i-share ko na lang yung ginagawa ko. Baka may mapulot din kayo. 7 prospectuses later, ito yung mga hinahanap kong factors immediately. I also used these sections to structure my review para streamline yung discussion natin. As of the initial prospectus, the target offer period will be from March 7 to 11 and the target listing date will be on March 25. The primary offer consists of 280 million firm shares, 70% of which is institutional and 30% for us retail. In case of oversubscription, merong 42 million over allotment shares. The offer price will be up to 12.5 pesos per share and most likely magbabago naman yan, so you guys know the drill. If magkaroon ng changes to the offer period, to the listing date, and to the price, you can check the comment section. In 2008, Bank of Commerce became an affiliate of SMC. Yes, ito yung SMC na listed sa stock market natin. To be specific, ganito yung corporate structure. 40% belongs to San Miguel Properties Incorporated. Another 40% belongs to San Miguel Corporation Retirement Plan. Tapos yung natitirang 20-ish% is split among numerous shareholders. So 40 plus 40 plus 20%. 100%. In the Philippines, merong several types of banks. Universal banks, BDO, BPI, Metrobank. Commercial banks, BDO Private Bank, PBCom, PH Veterans Bank, Thrift Banks, BPI Savings Bank, PS Bank, RCBC Savings, China Bank Savings, Rural and Cooperative Banks, One Network Bank, East West Rural Bank, Guagua Rural Bank, FICO Bank, Islamic Banks, Al Amana Islamic Bank, and lastly, Naira Banks. Nani? Different banks have different licenses and they are all regulated by the BSP. They are classified into several categories kasi nga iba-iba yung services and target market, but they also have overlapping product offerings. What I mean is, for general purpose investing or kukuha ka ng loan, malamang meron silang lahat niyan. Magkakatalo na lang kung private individual ka ba or corporate client ka. Doon mo kailangan mamili kung saang bank ka pupunta. So before we talk about actual numbers, let me introduce you to non-performing loans or NPL kasi magiging crucial ito when we talk about sources of revenue later. So by definition, a non-performing loan is when a borrower fails to pay the principal and or the interest for at least 90 days. When a bank has too many NPLs in its balance sheet, it poses cash flow problems kasi hindi na siya kumikita from its credit business or sa pagpapautang. So para sa mga CPA or finance people dyan, feel free to criticize me or to correct me kasi I'm only basing this from my own research. Pero guys, generally speaking, NPLs are considered bad debt kasi the chance of recovering the capital is minimal na. Pero with that said, meron pa rin namang ways para ma-recover ng banko yung loan. The first option is the bank may take possession of the asset or assets pledged as collateral. So a collateral is an asset that is accepted by the lender as security for the loan. So for example, dineclare ni borrower na collateral ang kotse niya o motor niya, then the bank or the lender may take possession of that vehicle kapag naging NPL status na. The second option is foreclosure. Medyo similar to sa first option which is collateral, pero instead na kotse lang o motor lang, pwedeng bawiin ng bangko mismo yung bahay or yung property na binabayaran ng loan. So for example, kumuha ka ng home loan tapos the bank agreed to finance it. At any point during the mortgage period, pag hindi ka na nakabayad or pag naging NPL status na, kahit nasa construction stage pa lang o buo na yung bahay, pwedeng kunin ng bangko or the bank has legal basis to take that property from you tapos ibebenta nila para hindi sila lugi. I think yung Filipino term dito is remata, nare-remata yung bahay, pero hindi ako sure. Lol. And finally, the lending bank also has the option to sell the NPL at significant discounts to a collection agency. Tapos yung collection agency yung mangungulit sa borrower to collect as much money as they can. When a collection agency is in the picture, another option for the bank is not to sell the NPL outright or kaagad. Pwede rin na magkaroon sila ng agreement na, for example, collection agency, mangulit ka muna ng pera, tapos pag nakakollect ka na, a percentage of that will go to the bank. Kahit magkano, basta fix yung percentage. In summary, NPLs hurt the bank in two ways. ways. First, less money for new loans. Because the bank can't recoup or recover the money, it means less money is available for them to create new loans for other borrowers. Hindi lang to harmful to the business, but it also leaves potential borrowers with fewer options for loans. Second, less attractive na siya sa mga potential investors. Because banks mainly make money from the interest charged on the loans, the more NPL, the less attractive it is for potential investors kasi the future profitability of the credit business is affected. Okay, so ang dami kong sinabi, pero kamusta naman ang NPL ni Bank of Commerce? We can now talk about numbers. Here's the table of the bank's gross revenue history. For the past 4-ish years until September 2021, consistent yung top 3 spots year after year since 2018, which are corporate banking, treasury, and consumer banking. If there's one thing we can take away from this table, it is that majority of the revenue is coming from the corporate clients. And because of this, during the pandemic, the company took a more defensive approach. Instead of aggressively looking for more customers or clients, mas nag-focus sila dun sa meron na, mas nag-focus sila dun sa corporate borrowers na medyo tagilid sa pagbabayad. According to the document, nag-launch sila ng better payment plans and restructuring agreements. We don't need to know the details of these restructuring plans, pero para sa akin, nagustuhan ko tong initiative nila, and to borrow BDO's tagline, they found ways. Okay guys, balik tayo sa NPL, and medyo nanusubleed lang ako nung inaaral ko to, pero sisimplihan ko na lang. Meron tayong 3 performance indicators related to NPL. Gross NPL ratio, net NPL ratio, and NPL coverage ratio. So ayun nga, dahil tinatamad akong aralin isa-isa yan, what I did was just look at the BSP website, check their benchmarks, and then compare it with the numbers reported by Bank of Commerce. For gross NPL ratio, lower is better. The BSP average for 2021 was 4.3%. Si Bank of Commerce, 3%. So goods yan. Next, net NPL ratio, lower is better ulit. BSP 2021 average, 2.4%. Bank of Commerce, 0.9%. Okay din. Finally, NPL coverage ratio, and dito naman, higher is better. BSP 2021 average or the benchmark is 84.8%. Bank of Commerce, 107.7%. In other words, Bank of Commerce NPL passed with flying colors. The company estimates the net proceeds from the primary offer to be 3.34 billion pesos. It will be used in 3 ways, pero before that, may nakita lang akong contradicting statements. Check nyo to. Sabi dito sa prospectus, Bank Com's IPO is being conducted as part of its Unibank license application. Pero sabi naman dito sa website nila, it is already, quote-unquote, one of the country's progressive universal bank. Siguro nag-overthink na naman ako dito, pero anyway, 54% or 1.8 billion pesos will be used for lending activities. Konting details lang yung binigay nila, pero I think it's safe to say that this will be used for expanding their loan war chest. This will help in providing better options to possible borrowers. 28% or 922 million pesos will be used mainly for IT projects. More specifically, for expanding their ATM fleet. Currently, meron silang 140 branches and 257 ATMs. The remaining balance from the net proceeds or 18% will be used for acquisition of investment securities. Again guys, sobrang tipid ng description nila dito sa document, as in literal na 2 paragraph lang, pero basically they will purchase Philippine government securities. Para daw to masatisfy yung high quality liquid asset requirement ng BSP. I'm only assuming here, pero I think that means government securities na merong relatively short-term maturity, such as treasury notes or treasury bills, kasi highly liquid nga yung mga assets na to. So this Bank of Commerce IPO will be the first non-REIT IPO this year kasi nauna yung C-REIT IPO. And maraming risks related to this IPO, pero most of them are general risks in investing. For example, how long would this pandemic continue for, or the possible political instability that the next election may bring. Pero meron ako nakitang 2 unique risks in the prospectus. First one, it is behind the fintech race. In this graph I found in Globe's briefing materials, kitang-kita naman natin kung gaano nakalaki si GCash in the digital payment or digital service space. Also, among the 9 finance apps, 3 lang ang directly owned by banks, BPI, BDO, and Union Bank. I think it would be wise not to compete in this space kasi first of all, it's already saturated, and these apps are used by retail customers, a market in which Bank of Commerce is not a big player in kasi nga, as we saw earlier, most of its gross revenue come from treasury and corporate banking. The second risk naman comes from digital-only businesses, specifically digital banking. Iba po ito dun sa first risk kasi oo, financial services sila pero hindi sila na offered exclusively by banks. Kasi merong GCash, merong Paymaya. For this point, banks talaga yung mga kalaban and medyo napag-iwanan na si Bank of Commerce. Napag-iwanan na siya kasi the PSP already granted digital licenses. Namely, Overseas Filipino Bank, Tonic Digital Bank, Uno Bank, Union Digital Bank, GoTime Bank, Maya Bank, and Tyra Bank. Aside from this, additional competitors are the non-brick and mortar banks or yung mga banks na walang physical branches such as CIMB and ING. Ibang klaseng IT and system architecture challenges yung kailangan sa digital banking, and it will take a whole lot from Bank of Commerce if they decide to take a piece of this market. To summarize itong mga risks, I think they are real pero they don't pose a serious threat to Bank of Commerce, at least for now. If they just continue funneling their energy towards corporate banking services, as an investor, I think I wouldn't mind if they don't get a digital banking license in the near future. Kumbaga mag-focus na lang sila kung saan sila magaling, which segues nicely into my next thought. Corporate banking is the bread and butter of Bank of Commerce. So bilang normal citizens, familiar lang siguro tayo sa retail banking, di ba? Pero yung strength kasi ni Bank of Commerce nasa corporate banking and how they demonstrated resiliency in the face of crisis. Earlier, we glossed over the initiatives they took para hindi sila mag-default sa mga loans or maging NPL yung loans nila. And yun nga, nagustuhan ko yung effort ngayon. For me, going beyond the normal lender-borrower relationship builds trust, especially if they were able to help the client survive the financial drought when the economy closed because of COVID. Yung initiative na ginawa nila, it could have been the difference between surviving and pagsasara completely ng business ng client nila. I'll see you in the next one. Bye! In other words, Bank of Commerce, NPL passed with